Irving Penn is regarded as one of the great American artists of the 20th century. During his nearly 70-year career, Penn pioneered new styles in fashion, advertising, and editorial photography, all with his elegant, aesthetic simplicity. He continually stretched his creativity by balancing professional commissions with personal projects. Born in Plainfield, New Jersey, to a Russian immigrant family in 1917, Irving Penn knew he wanted to be an artist by the time he was in high school. Perhaps art was something that was highly valued in the Penn household. Penn's father, though a watchmaker by trade, loved to paint. Penn's younger brother, Arthur, would himself go on to great fame as the director of Bonnie and Clyde and other celebrated films. While attending the Museum School of Industrial Art in Philadelphia, he met Alexei Brodovich, an influential teacher and a visionary art director at Harper's Bazaar, who became his mentor. With the earnings from drawings published in the magazine, Penn bought his first camera in 1938, a Rolleiflex. In 1943, he was hired as a designer at Vogue by the legendary art director Alexander Lieberman. When Penn expressed disappointment that the staff photographers at the magazine did not like his suggestions for cover photographs, Lieberman encouraged him to begin taking his own. His first colour photograph for Vogue was published as the cover of the October 1943 issue. Over 6 decades with the magazine, he would create an unprecedented 165 covers. In the late 1940s, Penn first met Lisa Fonsegrives, one of the world's most sought-after fashion models who would inspire him in many ways. Trained as a ballet dancer, she had a sophisticated understanding of form and posture. They were married in 1950. Lisa went on to become a sculptor in the 1960s. Their son, Tom, recalls how the family's dinner table conversation was all about art and artistic expression. Penn was a very private man, devoted to his work and family, and never sought the limelight. Penn's travels abroad for Vogue's assignments increased between 1964 and 1971, taking him to places like Dahomey, now Benin, New Guinea and Morocco. On these trips, Penn was increasingly free to focus on what truly interested him, making portraits of people in natural light. He ended up constructing a tent studio that could be dismantled and taken from location to location. In the mid-1960s, Penn developed a complex method for printing with platinum and palladium metals. In doing so, he helped revive and popularize this 19th century process. One milestone was his cigarettes series, of which 14 prints were selected by curator John Żarkowski for Penn's first solo exhibition at MoMA in 1975. This single exhibition overcame a strong prejudice against commercial photographers being welcomed into the museum, at a time when photography had yet to become one of the main pillars of contemporary art. In 1984, there was a career retrospective at MoMA, which would tour widely in the US and abroad. Over the next decade, Penn joined the Pace McGill Gallery in New York and made a substantial donation of 250 artworks to the Smithsonian Institute and the Art Institute of Chicago. Irving Penn passed away in 2009 at the age of 92, but he continues to inspire new generations of artists. The Irving Penn Foundation carries on his legacy, ensuring that his work lives on.
As a photographer myself, I had a great respect to Mr. Irving Penn for having a balance between commercial and personal fine art photography throughout his long career. I went to visit his studio myself to request his donation of his artwork. Being a big fan of him, I was very nervous, but he was so receptive and kind. I still have the book that he signed for me as my treasure. I was touched when we learned at his memorial service that when he was small, he was sick and had to stay in bed for an extended time. He once told me that he had a soft spot for children, and this explained why. For a small organization like us, having a print by Mr. Irving Penn meant so much. It heightened the awareness of our auction.
Irving Penn was an ardent supporter of Friends Without a Border, donating prints to the annual Friends of Friends photography auction from early on. On the occasion of the 20th anniversary, Friends Without a Border is deeply honoured to present the Artist of the Year award to Mr. Irving Penn. With help from artists like Irving Penn, Friends Photo Auction raises money to continue its mission to provide free medical care to children in both Cambodia and Laos.